Okay, so this professor who is was on the faculty at Drexel University. I assume he's resigned or been fired by now. He was accused of basically using grant money to do a lot of things that are not quite considered scholarly by most standards. It involves spending money at the strip club, a lot of money on iTunes, and a lot of things that just don't make a lot of sense that are going to get you in some trouble. Anyway, the goal is not to really gossip about this situation. Obviously he's innocent till proven guilty, and I don't think it's a matter. I mean, sure, we can talk about the salaciousness of a professor going to the strip club or whatever, but there's a lot of people that go to strip clubs. I mean, that's not such a big deal. That people do what they're going to do in their private lives. But what's interesting here is the weight with which the feds come down on you when you take federal money. One of the things I talk to you guys about in general is that as you build, whatever it is you're trying to build and do what you're trying to do, a lot of you are starting businesses, starting, foundations and things like that, 501c3s. When you take government money, one of the interesting things about our government is that they treat federal funds, taking federal money, almost as bad as they treat murder or any other heavy-duty crime, rape, all these other things. And I don't know if I agree with that. I think, because what's going to probably happen to this professor, his name is Chikodinaka Nwangpa. That's how it's a very ethnic name. I want to look up the origin of it, but I probably mangled it. I didn't mean to, but I want to be respectful. But that's his name, and he's a professor of engineering. And what's unfortunate about this whole situation, and if he did make a mistake, then you got to pay a price for the mistake. I think the question becomes, what's the appropriate price? He might be Nigerian. Okay, if he's Nigerian, then I definitely don't want to mess his name up because I'm 30% Nigerian myself. But I do think that the interesting thing here is I almost feel like when people do things like this, they should be allowed to pay the money back. Maybe pay it with a significant penalty, and then maybe do a little bit of time in jail, 6 months, enough to teach them a lesson. I don't see someone like him as being as dangerous as the kinds of people who should be in prison, where you're around, rapists and murderers and molesters and people that might do terrible things to you. I'm not, maybe it's controversial perspective, but, it looks like the brother accomplished a lot of great things in his life before this really bad mistake jumped in, where he's showing maybe some sort of mental illness, some sort of addiction, or something. Because I'm reading this, and I'm reading this story, and according to NBC, it says, somebody said, to be fair, all these strippers are going to college. He's just supporting the students. Yeah, I'm sure every stripper is going to college, right? That's what they, I tell you, I did actually have to go to a strip club one time. I've only been to a strip club once, and that was because it was a bachelor party, and I agreed to be the best man and make sure that the groom was okay. That's what the best man is supposed to do, among other things. And I was there, and it was a little bit awkward. And at that time, I wasn't as public as I am now, but I was public enough that I was like, man, if people see me in this place, they're gonna think all kinds of stuff. And but fortunately, it was dark, and I remember, just kind of using that as an opportunity to. I was analyzing the environment. You see all these, first of all, black women are beautiful. I mean, I don't care, whatever their background is. Black women, there ain't nothing like a black woman. If you love black women and think they're amazing, then say it in the chat. Black women are just the most extraordinary creatures ever. And so it was kind of mind-boggling to see this person, standing next to me butt naked. And I literally don't even know her. I never had that. I'd never seen that before. Call me naive or whatever, but literally, I was like, I don't even know this lady, and she's totally naked in front of me. This is wow. And I did talk to one of them, and I said, so what are you tell me about your life, and I asked nerdy questions like that. And the lady did. I remember she said I'm going to school for something, and I got this feeling that like that's kind of the thing, right? If you're a stripper and you want to be a non-stripper, you say that you're going to college so you can separate yourself from the pack. I'm sure Cardi B was going to college for several years while she was stripping. But then the other thing that was interesting is they were very athletic. I remember noticing how strong they were, and I was like, wow, how does she hang from the pole from her ankles, like, or whatever, like seriously, like you would just see these gravity defying, like actions by, which was like, wow, these are like, and I asked one of them, I said, did you do gymnastics in school? Because that's really impressive. And she literally, I remember her telling me that she was an athlete in high school, that she used to be on the cheerleading squad and did all these flips and lifted weights and all that. So that helped her in her current career, which, I mean, who am I to freaking judge? I mean, people do whatever they're going to do. But anyway, so I don't really, I think that the scandalous part of the story, obviously, is that he was, spending his money in the strip club allegedly, according to the charges, and also they're claiming that he spent the money on iTunes, and it was like some ungodly amount of money on iTunes. Like I could have swore they said it was like $50,000, $80,000 or more on iTunes, and I'm just thinking that's so interesting. I don't know. I'd be curious to see the receipts on that. And I think if I were to pick an appropriate punishment, I would say, okay, pay all the money back. You'll never get a grant again. Pay double the amount. Pay double the amount back in restitution. Maybe 6 months home incarceration. Right? You can't have your freedom or whatever. Just stay home. And that's it. I think that would be a punishment that makes sense. I honestly have to say that I'm not sure how I feel about America's hunger to incarcerate anybody and everybody every time they break the law. That part I would say, I don't know if that's necessary. I don't know if the streets are going to be safer with him in prison than they are with him out of jail. He's an engineering professor. I'm sure he's done some good things for people too, in addition to this particular mistake he might have made. And again, you just don't know. I mean, I like to wait to see the evidence and everything else, because I mean, they can lock a black man up for any reason, even without evidence. I mean, look at Bill Cosby, who's actually, connected to the Philadelphia area. I believe Drexel's in Philadelphia. And so there's something about that Pennsylvania system that I think is a little bit harsher than other places. I remember in Chicago, there was a black woman who, I had a friend who called me on behalf of her other friend, who was, who was a Harvard graduate, or my friend was a Harvard graduate. I think her friend was like, also Ivy League or whatever. And this black woman had gotten a grant, and somehow she had misallocated the fund. She did something with the money she wasn't supposed to do. And they were going to send her to prison for 10 years. And actually, they did give her a 10-year prison sentence. Took her away from her family. And I mean, this lady was devastated, depressed, suicidal, everything else. And I just really, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's controversial. Maybe people don't agree with me. But I just didn't really see how society benefited from sending this mother of three away to prison. I didn't see how the world benefits. When people go away to prison, their kids grow up and become felons a lot of times. They I knew a guy who actually, well, I knew this guy named Mario Lloyd that we went to visit him in prison once, and we were trying to help him get out. And when he got caught up on a RICO charge, he was a dope dealer back in the 80s. And when they caught him up on a RICO charge, they sent him to prison. They sent his brother to prison for 20 years. They gave him 14 life sentences with no parole. They sent his mother to prison, his sister to prison, all that. And it kind of threw the whole family into a tailspin. As a result, 20 years later, his son got murdered on a block that wasn't too far from where his daddy used to deal drugs. So, so it's like they destroy families when they're quick to incarcerate people. This is not me saying that, any and everything's okay. This is not me saying that if he did do these things, this is not me saying that it's all right to do these things. It's really me saying that I think when you talk about incarceration, I don't really think our society has benefited by trying to just incarcerate anybody and everybody for everything. I also find it quite fascinating that they'll treat a financial crime worse than they treat a crime, say, against black people. You got police out here that done shot up black people and all this other stuff, and they would get paid leave. So again, no, this is not excusing what he did at all. This is really me providing nuance and perhaps a non-conventional way of kind of analyzing this, other than just focusing on the salaciousness of money being spent at the strip club or the fact that he allegedly committed this crime or did something wrong. I think it's more interesting to focus on whether or not we as a society are even handling situations like this in a way that's going to benefit society at large. I don't think that we are. So that's it. That's my 2 cents on it. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys for hanging out with us for our weekend wealth summit here in New Orleans. If you want to become a patron on this platform in exchange for lots of free stuff that we give you, you can visit intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. Last but not least, some of you are asking about mentorship and a mentor program. We do have a mentor program. You can get 30% off if you go to blackkeystogreatness.com. That's blackkeystogreatness.com. That's where we have modules on setting goals, managing time, overcoming obstacles, dealing with haters, whatever it takes for you to be successful in life. It's not a financial program. It's a program built on life coaching, basically, if you want to call it that. So feel free to go to blackkeystogreatness.com. Use the code word podcast and you can get 30% off. So I'm out of here, guys. I'll see you soon. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Peace.